I'm Katrina, and this is my son Gavin. And he was born hearing, born premature. We, he didn't say his first word until he was 3 years old. When he was 3 years old, he finally said "Mom" for the first time, and had been to several pediatricians and specialists, and they said he'll talk when he's ready, he'll speak in his own time, and by the time he got to kindergarten, he wasn't keeping up, and we just would constantly get notes home, and he'd be getting into trouble, and they started testing him for autism. They thought maybe he was autistic, and we scheduled an appointment with the audiologist, just following through with all the tests that the pediatrician recommended, and we were at All Children's, and she did the hearing test, and I remember she came out and said, "You should sit down for this," and I said, "Okay," and I sat down. She goes, "He has profound hearing loss," and I thought to myself, well, that's nothing. You know, you can live such a successful life being a deaf individual that, you know, we can handle this. That's not a big deal. But then we were suddenly thrown into a loop of, you know, he needs this, he needs that, he needs hearing aids, he needs speech therapy, and at the time we didn't have any insurance on him. We couldn't get insurance on him because Blue Cross Blue Shield sent us a letter saying he has a pre-existing condition. And even though he wasn't born with a hearing deficit, he has it now. So they wouldn't take him. So it was a nightmare battling insurance companies. And then the wonderful man from the Serotonin Foundation reached out to us through All Children's and said, "We'd like to give you a loaner pair of hearing aids so that he can start being successful in school and start grasping that major developmental education that he needs and start growing." And it was an amazing feeling because I had no idea these services were out there. I had no idea that they were even available. They got him in within the week, set him for molds, brought him in when the molds came back about 2 weeks later, and he had hearing aids within a month. He had hearing aids, and they even sent over an order to his school for the teachers to have an FM system that would hook to his hearing aids. And they would call us, make sure everything was fine. If he was at school and he was getting feedback, they'd bring him in that day and adjust them. They were state-of-the-art hearing aids that without the Serotonin Foundation, we would have not been able to afford. They were about $4,000 at the time. And it was on a 6-month loan with the hopes that we would be able to get the insurance squared away within that time, and we weren't able to, and they let us keep them for a full year. And at that time, we were able to obtain insurance and purchase our own and return them. But it was absolutely amazing. Without the Serotonin Foundation, I don't know what we would have done. He would have really been lost. So he heard a bird for the first time. He started speaking. He was hard to understand, but he just, I mean, it's like this little boy his whole world changed once he had hearing aids. He was able to be himself. He was, you know, like all the other children, instead of, you know, before he never spoke. He could never hear himself. And he heard the radio. It was pretty amazing. I mean, our world changed. You know, we tried to grasp. He went to a deaf school for a little while, and we tried to grasp the deaf culture and communication. Our whole family learned sign language. He learned sign language. But in the end, he wants to be a hearing person, and he's most successful with the hearing aids. He doesn't want a cochlear implant, doesn't want to use sign. He just wants to have his hearing aids. And so as far as communication, encourage him to play sports, and just so he feels like every other kid.
My mom's pretty cool.
If you're a parent hearing this story for the first time, for more information, go to www.hearinghelpnetwork.org. We're excited to be able to share our story on the Hearing Help Network.